Listening test instructions. The listening test is about 50 minutes. There are 6 parts in listening test. You will have about 6 minutes to listen to each passage and answer the questions. The passage will be played once.
Hey, you look concerned. What's on your mind?
The final exam. I'm not fully prepared yet.
Well, don't worry too much. You still have 3 days.
Yeah, but 3 days will fly past in a wink.
Well, you still have time to cram things in your brain anyway.
Question 1. Why is the man looked worried?
You will hear a conversation in 3 sections. You will hear each section only once. After each section, you will hear 2 or 3 questions. You will hear the questions only once. Choose the best answer to each question.
Hello, this is Laura Bennett calling. I have an appointment scheduled for today regarding a plumbing issue in my kitchen.
Good morning, Miss Bennett. This is Daniel Harris from Clearflow Services. Yes, I see your appointment booked for 10 a.m. How can I help you today?
Thanks for confirming. I wanted to explain the problem in a bit more detail before you arrive. The sink has been draining very slowly for the past week, and yesterday, water started backing up into the dishwasher.
That's hopeful to know. Slow drainage combined with backup usually indicates a blockage somewhere in the shared pipe. Have you noticed any unusual sounds or smells?
Yes, actually. There's a gurgling sound whenever I run the tap, and there's been a mild, unpleasant smell since last night.
Understood. That suggests the blockage might be deeper than the sink trap. I'll bring the necessary tools to inspect the main line. Just to confirm, is the problem limited to the kitchen or are other drains affected?
The bathroom sink seems fine, but I haven't tested the shower yet.
That's okay. I'll check everything once I'm there. Could you also let me know if anyone will be at home during the appointment window?
Yes, I'll be home all morning. However, I do have an online meeting at 11, so I might need things to be a bit quiet then.
No problem at all. I'll aim to start with the inspection as soon as I arrive so we can minimize disruption. I should reach your place in about 20 minutes.
That works for me. Thank you for calling ahead and explaining everything so clearly.
You're welcome, Miss Bennett. I'll see you shortly.
Question 1. Why does Daniel ask about sounds and smells? Question 2. What does Daniel's response reveal about his next action? Question 3. Why does Daniel ask about other drains?
You will hear the second section of the conversation shortly.
Hi, Miss Bennett. I've taken a look under the sink and checked the dishwasher connection. The blockage doesn't seem to be local.
I was afraid of that. Does that mean it's something serious?
Not necessarily serious, but it does mean the clog is likely further down the pipe. I ran a camera inspection and there appears to be a buildup of grease and food residue.
That makes sense. I do cook quite often, and I might not have been careful about what went down the drain.
It's a common issue, so don't worry. The good news is that it's fixable. I can clear it today using a high-pressure cleaning method.
That sounds good. How long will it take?
Around 45 minutes to an hour. There will be some noise from the equipment, though.
That could be a problem during my meeting. Is there any way to delay the noisy part?
Yes, we can do the quieter preparation work first and start the pressure cleaning after your meeting ends.
I really appreciate that flexibility. Before we proceed, could you also tell me about the cost?
Of course. The inspection is already included. The cleaning will cost a fixed fee, which I'll explain in detail on the invoice. There won't be any hidden charges.
That's reassuring. Go ahead with the plan you suggested.
Great. I'll start setting things up now. If you notice any changes or have concerns, just let me know.
Will do. Thank you for keeping me informed throughout the process.
Question 4. Why does Laura react with concern after Daniel's assessment? Question 5. What can be inferred about Laura's role in the problem? Question 6. What does the estimated time suggest about the repair method?
You will hear the third section of the conversation shortly.
Miss Bennett, I'm happy to report that the blockage has been completely cleared.
That's great news. I tested the sink just now and the water is draining perfectly.
Excellent. I also checked the dishwasher connection again to make sure there's no remaining backup.
I'm relieved to hear that. Is there anything I should do to prevent this from happening again?
Yes, try to avoid pouring cooking oil or grease down the sink. Using a drain strainer can also help catch food particles.
I'll definitely start doing that. Do you recommend any regular maintenance?
Running hot water through the drain once a week can help, and a professional inspection once a year is a good idea if you cook frequently.
That sounds reasonable. Thank you for the advice.
You're welcome. Here's the invoice, and I've included a brief report of the work done today.
Everything looks clear. I appreciate how transparent you've been.
If you experience any issues in the next few days, feel free to call us. The service comes with a short-term guarantee.
That's very reassuring. I'll keep your contact information handy.
Thank you for choosing Clear Flow Services, Miss Bennett. Have a great rest of your day.
You too, Mr. Harris. Thanks again for your help.
Question 7. Laura's reaction after Daniel's explanation mainly shows what? Question 8. What problem-causing habit is Daniel indirectly warning against?
You will hear a conversation followed by 5 questions. Listen to each question. You will hear the question only once. Choose the best answer to each question.
Hi, Mr. Harrison. Thanks for coming over today. I really appreciate it.
Hello, Sophie. No problem at all. You mentioned there were some issues in the apartment?
Yes, there are a few things that need attention. The kitchen faucet has been leaking for a week now, and it's getting worse. Also, the heater in the living room isn't working properly. It doesn't warm up at all.
I see. That's not good, especially with the cold weather coming. Have you noticed any other problems?
Well, the bathroom window doesn't close fully. I tried adjusting it, but it seems like the frame is warped. And, one of the light fixtures in the hallway flickers constantly.
Okay, that's quite a list. Thanks for letting me know. We want to make sure the apartment is comfortable for you.
I'm glad you understand. I was starting to worry it might take a long time to get fixed.
Don't worry, Sophie. I'll prioritize the repairs. The faucet and heater are urgent, so I'll call the plumber and the heating technician tomorrow morning.
How long do you think it will take to fix the heater?
Usually, if the technician can come early, it might be done within the day. Otherwise, at most 2 days. I'll make sure you're updated.
That's great. And what about the window and the light?
I'll have the handyman check the window frame by the end of this week. As for the flickering light, I can send an electrician along with the plumber so it's all done in one visit.
That sounds perfect. I really appreciate how quickly you respond.
Of course, Sophie. Maintaining the apartment is important, and I want you to feel comfortable here.
Actually, one more thing. I noticed a small patch of damp near the kitchen sink. I'm not sure if it's serious, but I thought I should mention it.
Thanks for telling me. I'll have the plumber check that as well. Better to handle it now before it gets worse.
I really appreciate it, Mr. Harrison. It's good to know you're so responsive.
No problem at all, Sophie. I'll call you tomorrow with the schedule for the repairs. In the meantime, try to avoid using the heater too much so it doesn't worsen the problem.
I will. Thanks again.
You're welcome. See you soon.
Question 1. What can be inferred about Sophie's attitude toward her apartment? Question 2. Sophie's tone can best be described as Question 3. What is implied about the urgency of repairs? Question 4. Mr. Harrison's reassurance strategy primarily shows Question 5. The mention of damp near the sink suggests
You will hear a conversation followed by 6 questions. Listen to each question. You will hear the question only once. Choose the best answer to each question.
Good morning. You must be our new member. I'm Michael, one of the trainers here. Welcome to Active Zone Gym.
Hi, Michael. Nice to meet you. I'm Sophia. This is actually my first time at a gym, so I'm a little unsure about everything.
That's completely okay, Sophia. Many people feel that way at first. My role is to guide you and make sure you stay safe while exercising. Before we begin, do you have any previous experience with workouts?
Not much. I mostly walk at home, but I've never used gym equipment before.
That's a good starting point. The key thing to remember in a gym is safety. Using equipment properly helps prevent injuries and makes your workouts more effective. Let's start with the treadmill.
I've watched people run very fast on it. I'm afraid I might lose my balance.
That's a common concern. First, always stand on the side rails before starting the treadmill. Never step onto the belt while it's moving. I'll set the speed at a slow pace for you.
Okay, that sounds safer.
Keep your posture upright, look forward, relax your shoulders, and avoid gripping the handles tightly. Holding them lightly is fine, but leaning forward can strain your back and neck.
I didn't realize posture could cause injuries.
Yes, it plays a big role. Also, if you feel tired, dizzy, or uncomfortable, stop immediately by pressing the red button. Listening to your body is very important.
I'll keep that in mind.
Now let's move to the weight machines. These are beginner-friendly because they guide your movements. This is the leg press machine. Always adjust the seat before starting so your knees are comfortable and not locked.
How do I choose the right weight?
Start with a light weight. You should be able to do about 10 to 12 repetitions comfortably. If you feel pain or lose control, the weight is too heavy. Never rush the movement.
I see some people lifting very heavy weights here.
That's true, but they've usually trained for years. Lifting heavy without correct form can cause muscle tears or joint injuries. Technique is more important than lifting heavy.
That makes me feel better about starting small.
Good. Now about free weights. These require extra control and balance. Always warm up before using them. A short warm-up reduces the risk of injury.
What kind of warm-up should I do?
Light cardio, like cycling or slow jogging, followed by gentle stretching. Never stretch cold muscles. When lifting dumbbells, move slowly and avoid swinging your arms.
I'll be careful.
One more important thing is breathing. Breathe out while lifting and breathe in while lowering the weight. Holding your breath can make you feel dizzy.
I usually forget about breathing, honestly.
Many beginners do, but it's easy to improve with practice. Finally, always clean the equipment after use and return weights to their place. It helps keep everyone safe.
Thank you so much, Michael. I feel much more confident now.
You're welcome, Sophia. Take your time, focus on safety, and enjoy your fitness journey.
Question 1. Why does Michael first place Sophia on a very slow machine setting? Question 2. Michael's advice about holding the handles lightly mainly aims to prevent which issue? Question 3. What does Michael imply by telling Sophia to stop if she feels unwell? Question 4. Why are guided machines recommended before free equipment? Question 5. What does Michael mean by saying knees should not be locked? Question 6. How does Michael redefine progress in training?
You will hear a news item once. It is about 1.5 minutes long. Then 5 questions will appear. Choose the best way to complete each statement from the drop-down menu.
The City Council of several major Canadian cities, including Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal, has recently announced new parking restrictions aimed at reducing congestion in downtown areas and promoting the use of public transportation. According to city officials, these measures are part of a broader plan to improve traffic flow, reduce air pollution, and make city centers more pedestrian-friendly. Under the new regulations, certain streets in the downtown cores will now have limited parking hours. For example, parking will only be allowed for a maximum of 2 hours between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays. This change is intended to discourage long-term parking by commuters and encourage them to use public transit or park in designated parking garages located slightly outside the busiest areas. In addition, metered parking rates are expected to increase in high-demand areas. The new rates will vary depending on the location and time of day, with peak hours generally being more expensive. City officials have emphasized that these price adjustments are designed to manage demand, ensure that parking spaces are available for short-term visitors, and reduce the number of vehicles circling downtown streets looking for free or low-cost parking. Special attention is being given to accessibility, and spaces for people with disabilities will remain available without additional charges. Moreover, the new restrictions will include designated loading zones for delivery vehicles and ride-sharing services, which have become increasingly common in busy city centers. This is intended to ensure that businesses can continue to receive deliveries efficiently and that passengers can be picked up and dropped off safely. Local business owners have expressed mixed reactions to the changes. Some fear that higher parking fees and stricter limits may deter customers from visiting downtown shops and restaurants. Others, however, believe that the improvements in traffic flow and accessibility could attract more visitors and make the areas more enjoyable for pedestrians. City representatives have stated that they will monitor the impact closely and make adjustments if necessary to balance the needs of businesses, residents, and commuters. The new parking regulations are scheduled to take effect next month, and the city has launched an information campaign to inform the public. Flyers will be distributed, new signs will be installed along affected streets, and the city's website will provide detailed maps showing restricted zones, updated rates, and time limits. Officials encourage drivers to review these materials carefully and plan their trips accordingly to avoid fines or towing. City transportation authorities have also highlighted the importance of alternative options, such as bike-sharing programs, public transit, and carpooling initiatives, which are being expanded in conjunction with the new parking policies. The hope is that by combining these measures, downtown areas will become more accessible, environmentally friendly, and less congested during peak hours.
You will listen to a 2 minutes video. Then 8 questions appear. Choose the best way to answer each question.
Hey, have you both heard the latest from the management meeting? They're seriously thinking about testing a 4-day workweek next quarter.
Really? I'm not sure how I feel about that. I mean, it sounds good on paper, but I'm wondering if it'll just mean cramming 5 days of work into 4.
That's actually my biggest concern too. I'd love to have Fridays off, but not if it comes at the cost of staying until 9 p.m. the other days. Have they said how they'd structure the hours?
Well, that's still being discussed. But from what I gathered, the idea is to maintain the same number of hours weekly, just compressed. So yeah, longer days, but a full extra day off. Imagine a real 3-day weekend, every weekend.
Sure, that sounds tempting. But what about deadlines? I can already see chaos with team coordination, especially when clients expect us to be available 5 days a week. Not everyone's going to be off on the same day either.
Right, and not all departments can afford to slow down. I mean, support teams would probably need to rotate shifts anyway. Plus, what happens to productivity? Do we actually get more done, or do we just rush through everything?
Actually, there's been research showing increased productivity in companies that adopted this. People tend to waste less time when the day is longer but the week is shorter. They stay focused because they know they have to finish before their extra day off.
That's assuming people can stay focused for longer hours. What if burnout becomes more common with those extended workdays?
See, this is why I think we need to look at some hard data. I'd like to see how similar companies manage the shift, what worked and what didn't. I don't want us jumping into a trend just because it sounds modern.
That's fair, but sometimes you need to take a leap to find out. We're always talking about work-life balance. This could actually give us some.
Or it might give us more stress, depending on how it's rolled out. I think if it's optional at first, it could work. People who want to try it can, and the rest can stick to the regular schedule.
Optional might make sense. But again, only if it's monitored carefully. We'll need metrics, not just opinions.
You will hear a report once. It is about 3 minutes long. Then 6 questions will appear. Choose the best way to answer each question from the drop-down menu.
Many adult learners face significant challenges that make adhering to a rigid exam schedule difficult. Many balance full-time jobs, family responsibilities, and other commitments alongside their studies. A flexible exam schedule appears to be a practical solution that acknowledges these unique circumstances. Advocates of flexibility argue that fairness in education should not mean treating every student identically, but rather accommodating the different life situations that learners face. When exams are only offered at fixed times, adult learners may be forced to miss work, arrange costly childcare, or compromise other responsibilities, which can negatively affect their performance. Allowing them to choose exam times that suit their schedules can level the playing field, ensuring they have an equal opportunity to demonstrate their knowledge. Supporters also emphasize that fairness is about ensuring that assessment measures what students know and can do, rather than their ability to navigate rigid timing constraints. Standardized exam schedules often favor younger students who have fewer outside obligations, while adult learners may face stress and distraction that impacts performance. Flexible scheduling can mitigate these external pressures, providing a more accurate reflection of learners' understanding of the material. Offering multiple exam windows or rescheduling options aligns with the principle of fairness because it focuses on learning outcomes rather than logistical convenience. Adult learners often bring diverse experiences to their studies, which can enrich classroom discussions and understanding. However, if assessment timing is inflexible, these learners may not be able to participate fully or perform to the best of their ability. A system that recognizes and respects their circumstances acknowledges the value of their contributions and ensures they are not disadvantaged simply due to life stage. Fairness in education, therefore, should consider both the outcomes of learning and the conditions under which learners are assessed. Providing options demonstrates an understanding that equity involves adjusting systems to meet different needs rather than imposing a single standard on everyone. Some critics argue that flexible exam schedules could compromise academic integrity or make administrative processes more complex. While these concerns are valid, they do not undermine the fairness argument. Policies such as secure testing platforms, proctored exams, or clear rules for rescheduling can address these issues without penalizing adult learners. Flexible scheduling also reduces stress and improves overall performance, which is another aspect of fairness. When learners can select times that fit their personal and professional life, they are more likely to approach exams with focus and confidence. Accommodating diverse schedules allows educational institutions to maintain rigorous academic standards while recognizing the realities of adult learners' lives, emphasizing that fairness is about opportunity and support rather than identical treatment.
Visit celpipmocktest.com for authentic Celpip mock tests and see the difference in your performance.